This ex-reporter comes clean about something we've been talking about over and over and over again. What's so special about what he's saying? Well, you know what? I don't care that it isn't special of what he's saying. I don't care that we've been trying to point this out over and over. I have blogs that I've written at the Daily Kos, at Op-Ed News, and elsewhere that always pointed out that the false equivalencies, or he said, she said, or fair and balanced made absolutely no sense. That these right-wing people come on TV and they actually put their lies into the ethos, and once it's out there into the ethos on a national network or cable network, somehow it has plausibility. This reporter and this professor hits it on the nail last night on Lawrence. I want you to take a look at this, and let's take it on the other side.
Donald Trump and his supporters in the Republican Party all over the country have launched a continuing assault on democracy. The news media faces a challenge of how to report that story without appearing to simply be supporting one political party against another. Mark Jacob says the news media has been, quote, unintentionally complicit in the rise of fascism that threatens our democracy, and he includes himself among those who have been complicit. Mark Jacob edited page one stories for the Chicago Tribune, and he describes the challenge facing news media in a series of tweets. Mainstream media have long tried to treat Republicans and Democrats equally. Some, like me, thought that was the way to be fair. In fact, it was the way to be lazy and not have to sort out the facts. Just quote a Democrat and quote a Republican, and you're done. When I edited political stories, I went so far as to count the quotes from Republicans and Democrats, thinking an equal number would make us fairer. I didn't think I was helping either party. I thought I was helping the readers. I was wrong. The Republicans have overwhelmed the media with corruption. They've created scandal fatigue, prompting journalists to do something I call ethics norming. That's when something that would have been a huge scandal in the recent past is considered normal now. Some media have turned off their outrage impulse and decided that corruption is normal. What's needed is new framing, not party-oriented, but democracy-oriented, truth-oriented. The media shouldn't elevate liars in the interest of fairness. Yes, media should be fair to the readers, to the facts, but not to the two-party system, to our democracy. Joining us now are Mark Jacob and Jelani Cobb, staff writer for The New Yorker. And Mark Jacob, what brought you to the point of going public with your thinking about this challenge now?
Well, being out of the news business makes it easier, I must admit. I watch the news every day and you see all the dishonesty and you wonder why it isn't called out so much. I mean, I was in editing stories for 4 decades. 4 decades ago, I think there was some similarity in honesty and in corruption with the Democratic and Republican parties. They were close enough to where if you quoted a Republican, quoted a Democrat, that added up to somewhat to fairness. But you've seen a dramatic problem, in my opinion, with the Republican Party going very dishonest, just lies, corruption, and the Democrats, in my opinion, being about what they were 30, 40 years ago. And so you have this gigantic imbalance in how these parties are behaving. And in fact, one of the parties isn't really behaving like a party, it's behaving more like a criminal enterprise. And so what does the news media do? The news media, some of them don't do anything. They follow the same patterns they followed for 30, 40 years. That's what I was calling out.
Professor Cobb, is there a way to write a new set of rules that will work, or is this a dynamic challenge?
I think there's both. I think there are some rules and some guidelines that you can follow, the most fundamental of which is to not treat unequal things equally, as Mark said. The part of it that is dynamic, I think, is to be mindful of just how quickly our situation has changed, over the course of the past several years. We're actually having, January 6th to recede into the background. So many outrageous things have happened, and we're seeing that people on the right, people in the Republican Party, are talking about January 6th as if the people who stormed the building were the ones who were being wronged. And so, over the course of time, unless that is called out, unless that is people are adamant about what the facts of this situation actually were, do wind up normalizing something that's exceedingly dangerous. And I would add, betraying the mission that is entrusted to media by the Constitution.
The thing about like the January 6th Select Committee, I was watching a TV news report, and at the end of it, the reporter, I think in an attempt to be fair, said, well, the Republicans say that this committee is just a partisan witch hunt. All right, so that was the Republican view. But in my opinion, that reporter didn't need to say that, because we know it's not true. We just know. We know that the Republicans attempted and succeeded in blocking a bipartisan commission would have been bipartisan, would have been fair. And so they didn't want any kind of investigation. And so for them to now kind of dump on the idea that a select committee's been formed to try to find out why people tried to commit an insurrection against our democracy becomes, what I'm saying is that level of fairness is not fairness. It's actually helping the people who are trying to destroy our democracy.
And that last comment by Jacob is the magic. It's what we're talking about. By giving these people a voice for known lies, again, it's not about hearing one side or the other. It's about allowing one side to come in and simply mislead and lie when we all know absolutely that it's a lie, that it creates the issues. But we've been talking about this all times, and the media is well aware of that. The reason that they do not change is they need to have a backstop. And I hate to just put it onto some sort of an ideological framework. They need to have a backstop to progressivism, because that is ultimately where we're heading. And the only backstop to true progressive values going forward is to have some alternate reality. And that alternate reality, as cancerous, as corrosive as it is the right-wing lying machine. And the mainstream media is complicit in having them used as the backstop for the plutocracy. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.